Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, species across all timelines of the multiverse, welcome to Geek Syndicate, where we bring the sass back to geekdom. It's been a while, but I am Monts, and with me is...
I'm Nuge, also official sass bringer for 2024. Happy Sass Day, people.
Sass Day. What is it? It is Thursday, 18th of April, will henceforth be known as Sass Day.
Yeah, don't be saying that, though, because you don't know how long it's going to take me to edit this week.
Yeah, whatever day this is you're listening will be known as Sass Day.
Yeah, whatever day you want it to be is Sass Day. In fact,
like
every day should be Sass Day. Yeah, it's like Easter.
Easter's different every year. I've never been... Siobhan's tried to explain it to me, but I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that, right? And I'm going to get a little bit religious for a second, right? I don't get it, yeah? So the whole concept, right, of... Okay, forget Easter Day a second. Well, no, it's not. No, actually, it's the same principle. But let's look at Good Friday, right? Good Friday changes every year. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, at some point, beliefs notwithstanding, some dude got crucified on a particular date. By some dude, obviously, Jesus. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. He got crucified on a particular date, right? So how is it that day changes every year? Because surely the date is the same.
I don't understand.
They don't make no sense.
There's some explanation somewhere, and I've heard it before, and the reason I can't remember it is because even though it's been explained to me, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense, man. It makes no sense.
The date be the date. The difference is, yeah.
It's like the whole. I'm on that whole tip now with the whole kind of like. Back in the day, I understood why clocks went forward and clocks went back because it was the farmers and da. But I'm kind of like, look, come on, man. Do we still need this?
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
Just as I get used to one thing, it's like we've got to put the clocks forward again. I'm like, and I lose an hour's sleep.
I lose sleep as it is, man. I don't need to be like, so don't start me, man.
Too late.
Yeah, all right.
You got any shoutouts?
Nah.
Okay.
Don't like anybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people are like, you know who you are. I want to give a quick shout out to my boy Corey Brotherson.
Yeah.
Because he started. So one of the things sort of I've decided to do now is normally I usually give a little bit of cash to charity each month. I mean, don't people listen to this? Let's not. I ain't no kind of like Richard Branson. I'm not giving millions and stuff. Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? Just want to like lower people's expectations of me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I kind of suddenly thought, like, I see like a lot of patrons and a lot of creative people doing their stuff, and a lot of people struggling, and I had this conversation with Sue about sometimes the things we're giving to like the big charities is kind of like. I'm not saying that they're always all right, but you don't necessarily see where your donations are going and all sorts. And I quite like the idea of trying to support fellow creatives. So I'm going to start like trying to like put into various patrons now.
Weirdly, I did that for the first time ever this week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. James Barkley put me on to a podcast called Origin Story.
Right.
And it's these two guys who are kind of politically clued up. And so all of their stuff has a kind of political slant to it. But they are, I think, what's it say? It says the real stories behind the most misunderstood and abused ideas in politics, from woke to centrism and beyond. This illuminating pod explores the hidden histories of the concepts you thought you knew. Now, I like these guys, but hey, it's not a pod, it's a podcast. Dudes, come on, man. But they number one, I found it really good because I'm understudying Winston Churchill in Nye at the National Theatre at the moment, and they did a two episode special on Winston Churchill, and it was illuminating and it was really useful. So I was like, you know what, I feel like I owe these guys, and I went to listen to more of their stuff. Night of the Living, one of the episodes called Night of the Living Allegory, the politics of zombies, and they go right from the start of like where zombies, the idea of zombies come from, and they list their favorite zombie movies and talk about it and kind of bring a political slant to it. But if you love zombies, it is a fascinating exploration of it and stuff. And the more you listen to, the more you realize they love comics and all of that business as well. So,
okay.
So Yeah, and they got some really interesting stuff that they do. They do some proper full-on research, man. It's like makes me go, yeah, it just kind of puts me to shame. One guy's written a book on like end of world fiction, so he's like really got a thing for apocalypse stories and stuff. Fascinating. So if you know, Game of Origin Story, it's called, with Ian Dunt and Dorian Linsky.
Nice.
So that's my shout out of nowhere. And going back a bit, but you're shouting out Corey.
Yeah, who's a writer, a narrative designer. So he's got his own sort of Patreon now where he's doing. And the good thing as well is like, I'm now going to try and do him out of money, but like if you sign up to like his free tier, so there's kind of like no cash involved, he's still sort of doing posts for stuff, but obviously, you know, if you go up another tier, there's more stuff. And he's just dropped on about comic book writing class, like the basics of it. And he's done some really interesting posts about him dealing with depression.
Okay.
And he's like quite honest about it and stuff. And I feel I've gotten something from reading it, because I've been having my own struggles with it recently. So yeah. So I'm definitely going to be like, I'm currently not paying anything for it, which is classic me. So I'm going to move up a tier. And the other one I'm going to do is, and what I might do is as well, is I might move around. I might not stay with someone forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I might sort of say on the podcast who I'm moving to. I think it's John Allison, who does he did he did the Giant Days comics. That's one where they're at university and stuff. Which I loved, absolutely loved. And he's done and he did the one with I think it's called Bad Machinery, where it's kid detectives.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
He's got a Patreon where he's putting some of his comics on there and stuff like that, and other bits and bobs. So I'm going to do that one as well. Also, if you're interested in the Bad Machinery stuff, he's got them. They're all free to read online.
Okay, nice.
Okay. Yeah. So that's me done.
Nice. All right, shout outs done. Let's move on. Should we just go straight to the week that was?
No, because I've got some news.
All right, it's time for the news.
Aye. So, first bit of news, I'm kind of interested in your view on this. So obviously,
burn them all with fire.
Hold that thought.
Okay. Worrying.
So obviously, Doctor Who is back on our screens next month. I'm still trying to get over the fact that it's in May. Just I don't know why you don't put it on in the autumn, man. That's what Doctor Who
that's when
man.
As the days are closing in, that's Doctor Who time, man.
That's it, man. That's it. But anyway, it is what it is. So yeah. So what the change is now is obviously because Disney Plus are now involved, didn't they?
Yeah,
because they now own it. Or I think they're now on the production company, or they've done a deal with them, or whatever. So it will launch on Disney Plus in the US and internationally on Friday, May the 10th. On the iPlayer, it will come out on the Friday the 10th. But effectively, it comes out something like 12 a.m. on the Friday in this country. It's like simultaneous, but if you're doing it in the States, they get it at 7 p.m. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And then if you haven't got either of the streaming services, if you want to watch it on TV, that airs on the Saturday.
Right.
So I'm kind of like... So basically what they've said in this article I'm reading, they're saying, this move will save British fans of the show who were concerned that viewers in other parts of the world would get to watch it before they did. Well, they kind of are. Because I get that it's a simultaneous release, but let's be honest, unless you're a dedicated Who fan, man ain't getting up at 12 midnight to watch Doctor Who when someone else in the States is watching it at 7 p.m. in the evening with their feet up.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm a dedicated Doctor Who fan. I ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
You know, I'm not. On one hand, I'm not bothered, but I'm like, look, let's just call it as it is, man. Don't be trying to tell me about. No, it's all good. It's all fair. It ain't.
No, it ain't. It may be equality, but it's not equity.
Yeah, and worst case scenario as well. if you don't, if for whatever reason, if you don't have BBC iPlayer, or you haven't got that time to watch it during the day or whatever, or you just like the idea of watching it on a Saturday, you're gonna have to stay off internet
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah, what is that, man?
Because one, you'll just get general people spoiling it, but two, I guarantee you, if something big happens, especially like in the first episode, if something big happens, blogs will run it because they'll be like, "Oh no, but it's already out now."
And the thing is, it's going to be really hard because people are putting spoilers in headlines now, so it's going to be really hard to. Yeah,
it is really difficult. Especially, I think the ones that really get me is when they actually do spoiler in the headline, and then the next bit of it is the actual spoiler. I'm like, don't work like that, man.
Yeah. No.
I'm looking forward to it, and clearly, I watched the trailer for it, and you can kind of see they've obviously got a bit more money to spend.
Yeah, I've kept away from trailers. I'm going to watch it anyway, so I'll just take it.
Yeah. No, fair G's. Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with it. I've got some concerns as always, but I'm still excited to see it.
Yeah. We shall see as always.
Yeah.
So I have got some news.
Okay.
I was going to include it in my week that was, but I'm not, because this is news. This is actually just plain out news. So, and this is the section I call Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. Yeah.
Okay.
So are you aware of the three-body problem?
Yes, I haven't watched it yet, but this is a Netflix show, isn't it? Which was based on is it based on a novel?
It's actually based on a trilogy.
Okay.
Which won loads of awards, and people have been telling me to read it for a few years now. And then I thought, okay, time now. So I bought it. And only after I bought it, I found out that there was a Netflix series.
Right.
So I was like, but I didn't realize it was Netflix. So I went looking, and I said, oh, where can I watch this? And it said Amazon Prime. So I went on Amazon Prime, and there's a program called Free Body. So it's a Chinese book, yeah, and there's a Chinese version adaptation for TV that came out last year, which is on Amazon, and there's a Netflix version which came out on Netflix.
Which came out, I think that only dropped this month, didn't it?
Literally, it came out within like 3-4 months of each other, as far as I can tell, something like that. So I was like, "Ooh, which one do I watch?" So I've read the first book and I've watched the first episode of both, and I'll talk about them more in things. But this is where it gets mad, right? So there's a Chinese guy, and I'm probably gonna say his name. I'm called Lin Qi.
Right.
Yeah? He's a billionaire, and he runs a games company in China, and it's made him a billionaire. He is fascinated by the three-body problem, and he set up a whole franchise to start. So he spent millions buying all the rights for the books to be able to do the adaptation. Right. Started working with Netflix and the HBO Game of Thrones creators to bring it to life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He employed an executive called Zhu Yao. Yeah, to work, and he kind of put him sort of in charge of overseeing this, whatever. And then he demoted him after a couple of years because it just wasn't achieving. Yeah. You with me? You're right.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Billionaire Lin Qi hires Zhu Yao. Demotes Zhu Yao. Zhu Yao gets pissed. Sets up his own pharmaceutical company. What do you reckon he does with that pharmaceutical company?
I ain't got a clue, buddy.
He designs a poison with which he poisons Lin Qi, who dies the day Three Body Problem debuts.
Nah!
I ain't lying.
What?
It's madness.
That's madness, man.
He's just been sentenced to death in China.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh.
It's not funny.
It's just the way you jumped from like 1 minute we're talking about some Netflix show, and this was not where I expected the story to end up. You know what I mean? Man and man getting sentenced to death. I'm like, in my head now, I'm seeing some big execution dude with like an axe. It's like, well, sorry, man, but you got to pay the piper. Wow.
Apparently, he was fascinated and inspired by American hit TV series Breaking Bad.
Wow.
About a cancer-stricken chemistry teacher who teaches himself to make and sell methamphetamine So he was inspired by that. He went and created his own pharmaceutical company
to take the man out.
Yeah, 4 other people in the office got ill but didn't die because basically he was trying to poison his replacement as well.
My boy got some issues, man.
You kind of go, you know what, bro? This is why I don't believe in holding grudges, because there's a point where you just got to get on with your life.
I can almost imagine him like chatting to his boys and them like going, yeah, man, sorry to hear about that thing with the free body problem, man. But that's all right, man. Don't worry, something else will come up. And then, I don't know, a couple of years later, they all hook up. It's like, yeah, see, I told you, man. You got yourself a pharmaceutical company, you're doing well for yourself. And then the man quietly goes, yeah, I'm going to poison them all. He's like, what'd you say? Nothing, man, nothing. Enjoy your drinks, yeah.
It's like supervillain. I'm going to kill them all.
Jeez, man. Wow.
According to Mr. Benioff, who's Mr. Benioff? He's one of the guys between one of the David Benioff.
Oh, he's one of the Game of
Thrones guys.
Yeah.
He goes, none of this is funny, man. But it's just the way, like, the article I've got up. This is like, there was a post included a picture of a bespectacled Mr. Xiu in the courtroom wearing an oversized beige cardigan, surrounded by 3 police officers.
Wow, so basically you look up supervillain in the dictionary, you see my boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
What sorry, I got a know. So what was the guy's name?
Zhu Yao.
Hang on.
I just put in 3 body problem murder.
Yeah, that's what I've just done. Damn. Lin Kui, 2 years before his death. I want to see a picture. I'm gonna jump back a second, man.
Mr. Zhu began spiking beverages such as coffee, whiskey, and drinking water with methyl mercury chloride and bringing it. Wow. Mr. Benioff said, when you work in this business, you're expecting all sorts of issues to arise. Somebody poisoning the boss is not generally one of them.
I've just seen the picture. Boy, my boy looks pissed, man. And them guys that with him, man, they almost look like, one of them looks like he's just swallowed hard, as if to go like, boy, I should have checked that sandwich I ate earlier,
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
wow, that is right. Well, that's my evening reading, man. To be honest, if Netflix play it right, that's a Netflix documentary.
It is.
Done. Wow. Okay.
But
right.
Sorry, those guys are ready for business, though, don't they?
I mean,
the one on the left does. He looks proper ready.
It looks like if that dude even flinches wrong, they're gonna fill him full of holes, man.
Yeah, and I don't know what he's got in his belt, but he's got his hand on 2 sticks there, man. I was like, he's ready.
My boy ain't taking no chances, man. Wow.
That's taking grudges to another level, man.
Wow. Okay, right. Just try and get back on track.
Yeah, so with that done, it's time for the week that was.
Oh, yeah. I want to start with something just to carry on the laughter a little bit before we move on. I won't say this. We won't spend too much time with it. But I watched Roadhouse.
I haven't seen it, and I don't think I've seen the original either.
Okay, so obviously people who don't know, Roadhouse, the original, starred Patrick Swayze as he was what they called a cooler. So effectively, he was a bouncer. But I love that film. I really like that film. I like the film because it was just the way he kind of carried himself and the way he kind of talked about doing it as like a profession. Do you know what I mean? So I really like Roadhouse. So when they announced they were doing the reboot with Jake Gyllenhaal, I was kind of like, 1, why? 2, I like Jake Gyllenhaal, so let's see where this goes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I watched it and I saw where it went.
Okay.
And I was not too pleased with where it went. I just, you know what, right? It was all right. It weren't Roadhouse, first off, right? It weren't Roadhouse, right? You could have called it anything, you know what I mean? And even if you called it Roadhouse 2, I probably would have been happier with it. But it weren't Roadhouse. They're trying to do something different with it, and I'm like, okay. And in this one, he's kind of like an ex UFC fighter or MMA fighter, whatever. And then he gets kind of brought into this bar to kind of help clean it up and stuff like that. And one of the things I sort of struggled with a little bit was like, but in the first film, right, in the original, that was my boy's job, right? He was trained to be a bouncer or a cooler. Whereas in this one, my boy was an MMA, he was a UFC fighter or MMA fighter, whichever one it was. All of a sudden, he's got all these skills to be a bouncer. Being a bouncer, if you watch the first film, it weren't just about being able to fight and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he's dropping all this knowledge. And I'm just like, I was sort of struggling a little bit. It was almost like someone else coming in to like my job, who before that had like, well, I played video games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming in and doing it that felt weird. And the fights were all right, pretty decent. But however, it's one of the bad guys, and it's played by Conor McGregor. Yeah, he's an MMA sort of fighter. And this is and a former like UFC champion or whatever. And this was like his first acting gig. And
you're gonna say it shows.
It shows. Don't get me wrong. In one way, he kind of made the film because his acting was so bad at it.
Okay.
So he kind of made the film for me because it made it kind of laugh. I just laughed along, you know. But it worked good, man. It worked good.
Oh dear.
But watch it.
No.
Over to you.
Yeah, no. Where to start? Okay, because I started there, I'm gonna let's talk about three body problem.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot to cover. I'm gonna try and be brief. So I've got the book, and let's pretend, I'm a quarter way through the book. Ask me what it's about.
What's the three body problem about, Dave?
Don't know. Right, let's pretend I'm about halfway through the book. Ask me what it's about.
What's it about, Dave?
I don't know. I really don't know. Let's pretend I'm 3/4 of the way through the book. Ask me what it's about.
What's the three body problem about?
I've got it now. It's quite clever.
Okay.
It's quite clever. I see. I was reading. I was like, you know what? I'm involved. I'm in, but I don't know what is going on. Basically, loads of scientists are killing themselves because physics, and they've been leaving notes, and the notes say stuff like, physics is wrong.
Right.
And we're following this one guy, this one scientist in China who's trying to work out what's going on. Also, he's got a crush on the latest scientists who killed themselves, and he's trying to find what's going on. And he starts playing a video game set on a planet with 3 suns. And the three body problem is about how you predict the movement of 3 bodies.
What, like 3 planets or 3 suns? Or...
Well, they also kind of made it about particle physics as well as the suns as well.
Of course.
And I'm not going to say what, just in case, because it's having watched the shows as well. It's really nice to discover what it's about.
Okay.
So I thought it was very clever. Are you ever going to watch it or read it?
Yes, my plan is to. I probably won't read it unless you tell me.
Don't read it.
Okay.
I think it's a very good book. I think it deserves the accolades it's got. There's pages of science, and I can follow scientific stuff in books. And I think what's his name? Adrian Tchaikovsky's very good at dropping lots of science on you and bringing you with him.
Okay.
This guy, I can't say this. There's lots of science, and I'm sure it's very good science. But part of me is just going, it's all washing over me now. And I feel that unless you were a top tier character, then actual characterization was sacrificed for the science.
Right.
And a lot of people on the lower tier, like 3rd, 4th tier of characters, could have been the same person.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I think it deserves all the accolades. I think it definitely deserves praise. I'm not sure how much of that praise I would give, because I get the science. I get hard sci-fi is good. But when you're sacrificing other things for it, I'm like, I'm not. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so loads of science. Really good premise. One that, and what it turns out to be, I haven't really seen in any books before. So on that alone, I'd give it like a round of applause.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I'm like, what TV show do I watch? Do I watch the Chinese one? It's a Chinese book. So I thought I'll watch the first episode of the Chinese one.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, I think it starts off with quite a horrible scene in China in the Chinese People's Revolution. And I think that they moved that around to try and escape the censors
Right.
in China. Very, very, very faithful to the book.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I looked at it. It's 30 episodes, which apparently goes up to the end of the first book. So it's like 30 episodes for the first book. Damn, okay.
That's
So
that's a commitment, man.
and I don't know, looking at how thick it was in the science, I'm like, how'd you make this an interesting TV show? So I'm like, you know what? I think I want to see how they do it. And
Mm-hmm.
part of me's going, I wish I hadn't read it because I wish I could discover what's going on anew. So I watched that and I went, okay, this is going to be a very faithful production. It's well produced. It looks like, let's see the Netflix one. Turn that on. They open with the quite horrific scenes in China in the People's Revolution.
Right.
Because they ain't got no censorship problems to worry about. It's Netflix.
Yeah.
So that happens. And then we're in London. And I'm like, wait, London didn't feature in the entire book I read. I was like, where did London come from? I was like, boy, we are off the reservation here, boy. I was like, oh, we're in like based on territory. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Chinese one was an adaptation. This is a based on business going on. And then I'm looking at, they got these scientists, and I was like, all right, these scientists seem to be an amalgamation of some of the scientists from the book.
Right.
And it's like they've taken everything that happened in modern day China in the book and put it in modern day London. So I thought maybe they're showing us, because it's a global phenomenon, what's happening with physics.
Okay.
So I thought maybe they're showing us what's happening in London while the book was going on. But no, they've taken the book and put it in London with English scientists and changed it up a bit. So they're all going to the pub, having a drink, going, oh, are you still going out with so-and-so? And I'm like, what? And I don't buy a single one of them as scientists. I ain't gonna lie. Not one of them. And it was like, you know, this one of the scientists has gone to observe something. She's gone with her ex who still fancies it, you know, that he's got a chance. And she's sitting there and he's trying it on. And she goes, shush, you're here for the science. And I'm like, have we not got over people talking like that? Yes, you just come for, we are going to do science now. We don't just do science. Science about anyway. But so I was like, it looks like it's going to be more interesting than the Chinese one, but I don't know. I don't know how far off the rails you're going to go with it.
Right.
And I don't know how many episodes long it is, but it's a typical Netflix length.
That's probably going to be what, 8 to 10 episodes, I reckon.
Yeah, and they're already well into the second book, I think, with that, as opposed to the 30 episodes on Prime that's only got to the. So I don't know, man.
Well, for me, it's because I was going to say, like, you know, given you've watched the first episode of each, if you had to recommend to someone, i.e. me, which one would to go in with, bearing in mind I'm not going to read the book, probably.
Go Netflix.
Where would you fall?
Go Netflix.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going Prime because I'm invested in seeing how they've done it and how the different. I'm really interested now in how a Chinese production company and a European/American production company are approaching different problems. And I'm giving work to myself, man. 30 odd episodes before I even get to the Netflix stuff. That's
work, man.
That's work. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. So before I come on to like my big mention, I've got to give a mention to this because I've literally rinsed this show in about 2 days, Sue and I. And that is season 3 of Alex Rider.
Oh, it's what?
Yeah, man.
I love me some Alex Rider, man.
I thought I dropped you a WhatsApp to say it was back. I'm sure I did.
Hold on.
Sure I did, man.
Oh yeah, you did.
We
had a little chat about it.
Yeah.
We had a little chat about it.
So people who don't know, Alex Rider is basically a teenager turned super spy. They're based on a series of books by Anthony Horowitz. And they tried to do a film, and I watched the film and it was all right. But then they did the series, and from season 1 was just boom.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says, right? It is probably one of the few shows nowadays where whenever that intro, in fact, Sue and I like had an argument watching season 3
Yeah.
because I think we'd got to about episode 5, and I think she had a bit of a lapse in concentration, so she hit the skip intro,
Yeah.
and I just looked at her, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? You never skip the intro for Alex Rider. I'm like, "That's
The world
grounds
is
for
mine.
divorce. The world is mine." That tune, nah, man.
No, there's no skipping that. I'd forgotten that.
He don't skip Alex Rider intro,
Listen,
man.
I just played 5 seconds of it, and I'm like, yeah, boy.
You know what I mean? There's literally, I think the first episode of season 3 is a bit, because you always get a little bit before, don't you? And then the credits would start, the intro would start.
Yeah.
And there's literally a bit where someone just goes, everything's gone to hell, all shit's kicking off, and someone just goes, because his boss was he was the head of the agency, was called is it Alan Blunt? I think his name is something like that. Alan Blunt, and it all was kicking off, and someone just goes, the Home Secretary just goes, "Someone get me Alan Blunt," and he's like, "Their eyes west." I was like, "This is a show."
The thing is, Alex Rider, he just looks like the most unlikely hero.
That's what I mean.
But then the way he pulls it out, you kind of believe it.
Yeah,
and that is quite something.
Yeah. And there's even a scene, even the fighting in it, there's even a scene like where he's kind of, and he does some unexpected stuff. There's a little piece where he's hiding and listening in. It's a classic, typical scene, you know what I mean? And then the people sort of drift off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear someone just go, "Come out." And I was like, "What? What's going on?" He's been nabbed. And he just stays. He's like, he said, "You didn't do too bad, but I can hear you breathing. Come out." I was like, "What?" And then there's another bit later on where the same guy is kind of like, "You're learning. You held your breath." Like, this is the and I kind of it's one of them shows where you sort of watch it, you look around, you have to say, "Why ain't no one else chatting about this show? What's going on?"
Yeah.
But it's finished now. Basically, I think this was the last season.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just as good as the other 2 series. Loved it. Great story, great characters.
You know what it is?
Proper action.
I don't get the chance because I'm working. I don't get home until at least 11:45 now.
Right.
At the very earliest. So it's like, because Siobhan loves it. So we haven't had the chance to sit down and watch anything together for a while.
Yeah, well, so you can. Yeah, well, you're welcome, man. You get some time, sit down and watch that. I think, in one respect, the good thing about it is because a lot of people ain't talking about it. You're not really going to get spoiled because there's some sort of big reveals in there. So you know what I mean. It is good that you probably won't get spoiled. But yeah, cracking show, man.
All right then. All right, you decide. Am I going TV, book, or comic?
So long as we do the TV, I want to do.
All right, because I've got a book that you gave me, which I think bears talking about.
Do the. We still got half hour, so
all right.
Do the book, man.
All right, so this book is called it's called Start a Villain by John Scalzi. I love this book.
So good.
I couldn't love it more. John Scalzi's a genius, man. Oh man, how do I even? His name's actually John Scalzi II, but you know.
Whoever there was a super villain name, but
oh man, look, let me get this up. How do I? I've got to find the blurb for this book.
Whilst you're doing it, have you seen one of the covers? Is basically a cat in a suit.
A cat in a suit. I was like, right, here we go. It says, "Warning: supervillain in training, risk of world domination." John Scalzi brings us a turbocharged tale of a family business with a difference, as Charlie discovers when he inherits it. This one comes with a hidden headquarters, minions, talking cats, and James Bond-like supervillain rivals. There was a long blurb, but that one tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah,
I don't even know what else to say about it.
You know what, right? And one of the things as well is, I know often you read books and then they say it's getting adapted, and you go, "Oh, I'm really interested what they do with it, and I'm excited." So this apparently is being adapted. I don't know if it's been adapted as a film or a TV show, but and whilst I'm more interested to see how they're going to do it.
Wait, did you say it's been adapted? How? Okay.
Yeah. A part of me is kind of like, you know what? even if it's really good, you're not topping that book, man. You're
No,
not
no, no,
topping the
no.
book, and the visuals in my own head. You're not topping it. You're not topping it, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. So Siobhan, I read it and I said, oh, I think you'll like this. I gave it to Siobhan. Yeah, I think she did. I don't know. I turned around and suddenly she'd read that because I love this. Is there any more? I went, nah. Then she got John Scarles's Collapsing Empire, which is the first of a trilogy. 2 weeks later, she'd done the trilogy. And then she started Old Man. I know I read one of his book called Old Man's War, which I'll talk about in another episode.
Yeah, I've
And
got that to read actually.
it's good, man. It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, and she's already on the second book of that, and I'm like, she's like John Scalzi super fan suddenly out of nowhere.
Wow. Yeah,
But yeah, I think the best thing about Starter Villain is when you discover that there's the talking cats.
Oh.
The talking cats are just well, yeah, talking is in one way, but they're just intelligent cats running things. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
they're management.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe look at my cats in a whole different light. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't. I mean, it's like I don't even want to say anything else about it, and actually, I don't think you need to. I think that
No.
that blurb tells you everything you need to know.
And I think the two things I will say is like one, the world building is because I have this big thing about how you do world building in books, and I think it should try to make it as natural as possible. And in some ways, the setup of the story makes it perfect to do world building.
Do you know what I also noticed about this book? His descriptions of people.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do them.
No, he doesn't, does he?
You've got no idea if someone is black or white, fat, thin, Chinese, Japanese. If it doesn't come over in the narrative, then you don't get it. It's not fed to you. So they can be whatever you imprint on them. You know, there's a woman in it. She's never described as sexy or fitting her how she wears her suit or whatever. There's nothing. Because often with these things, someone comes along, they're a bit of a femme fatale. There's none of that. It's a woman.
Yeah.
That is all you know about her. She's a woman.
Yeah.
Full stop. As a bloke comes in, it's a bloke. That's all you know. He's got an Italian name. And in my head, he was this big bloke smoking a cigar. And I would look back at it and I went, I don't know why I thought that because it doesn't say a thing about him. He's very specific in not being specific about his descriptions of people. And I thought that's really interesting because they become what you want them to become.
Yeah. Weirdly, if it's the same guy we're talking about, that's how I saw him as well, like a big dude.
Yeah, I bet. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, my guy. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And I think the other thing, which isn't a spoiler, but what I liked about it is they could, if he chose, do more, but at the same time, it's very self-contained.
Yeah, yeah.
And absolutely. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Just to keep the variety up, do a comic, or comics, should I say.
Yeah, good.
I know you've probably read some of these. I've read the, I think I told you about them on the last episode. The, they're called the White Knight series, the Batman White Knight.
It was on my list, man, to talk about.
Yeah, which is written and illustrated by Sean Murphy.
Murphy, yeah.
Yeah, so I think when I spoke to you last, I think I just read Batman White Knight, but now I've read Beyond the White Knight. Curse of the White Knight, Beyond the White Knight, and White Knight Harley Quinn. So basically, pretty much most of a good chunk of the spin-offs I've now read.
I think I might have.
But you've read White Knight now, haven't you?
I've done White Knight and Harley Quinn.
Oh, you haven't done Curse
Beyond.
of the White Knight.
Oh, which one's that?
That one's got it's got Azrael in it.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. The only one I haven't done is Beyond the White Knight. Okay.
Which is interesting because that, in many ways, is my least favorite one.
Beyond the White Knight.
Yeah, because that to me felt it just felt like I enjoyed it, but it felt like an advert for other spin-offs. So that's when I'm kind of like, it's almost like you're now starting to spin it out now. It's something that was a great idea that was done well, executed well, but now it feels like it's slightly diminishing returns. Even to the point where they literally have sections where they'd introduce someone, the character, and go, and this carries on in Batman White Knight, Red
Okay.
Hood, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm
Like
less
Batman
involved
White
in
Knight
them.
presents Generation Joker. Batman
Yeah,
White.
yeah. I'm less
Okay,
involved.
gotcha.
Whereas I thought White Knight and Curse of the White Knight, I thought were brilliant. And Harley Quinn, given the fact it was a spin-off, I thought was equally brilliant. Those three, I would say to someone, just read those three,
And Harley
personally.
Quinn is done by Katana Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're fantastic.
Cracking art, really good story. Probably one of the most, for me, probably one of the most relatable portrayals of like Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. And it's just a really interesting take on the Joker as well. I haven't seen it
Yes.
quite done like that before.
Yeah, because I'm normally, whenever I see like a Joker thing, I just steer clear because I'm like not interested. I'm like, he's been done to death. But it was just, they just gave him a different, it was just the way they did it, I thought worked really well and really made you question the way Gotham PD and Batman went about their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
And also, you get so the idea is, and it says it in the blurb. Basically, the idea is that the Joker goes sane.
Yeah.
And people start to accept him. I saw someone in reviews going, "Nonsense! How could people accept a Joker that does all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Have you not looked at modern politics? Do you know what I mean? People still voting for mad people. Do you know what I mean? And blatantly, people done shit, and people go, "Yeah, I'm going to vote for them again." You're like,
Yeah.
Okay, we would do that. We would do anything, man.
Yeah.
So I could take it.
But I actually think that his justification in it is done well. There's a big speech he gives in it. I'm kind of like, it does make you sort of go, yeah, actually, you know what I mean?
Also, the dimensions that they give to Harley Quinn in this is fascinating and well deserved, because I've always struggled a bit with Harley Quinn, and this just turns it around a bit.
This version of Harley Quinn, you could. I hate to say like spin-off, but you could have given me a spin-off of
Absolutely.
her, and with that same writer on board, and I'm there.
I'm on Goodreads. They're calling it the Murphyverse series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But yeah, the way, as I said, Beyond One, I was kind of like, for me, it didn't need it other than maybe there was a meeting somewhere. It's like, what can we do next? Where can we go? Keep it going, keep it rolling. And it just, for me, I was less, I felt like the stakes were high enough in those first three, and I felt things changed and there was legacy involved. And I feel like this one, they were doing that, but it just felt more so they could spin more things out of it and keep it spinning. And I was less interested. So I think now, unless I hear from someone I trust that like, you need to get on board with this particular title, I'm kind of out.
Yeah.
I don't want to end it on a downer, but yeah, it is certainly worth a read. And for completion's sake, if you want to, read Beyond Batman Beyond, it's not. As I said, it's not awful. I still really enjoyed it, but compared to the other ones,
Gotcha.
I want to sort of now mention a cartoon. Boy, we're covering ground, man. Xmen '97. Xmen '97. Man.
For those who don't know, way back in time, we used to watch X-Men cartoons Saturday mornings in your pajamas with some cereal. And it had one of the best theme tunes for a superhero cartoon ever. And it was great. And I got a couple of people said, they start to rewatch it again, and it's not as good as they remember. But for me, what stood out about it wasn't the cartoon as a whole. It was when things got spicy.
Yeah.
And you saw the team working together and making sacrifices and putting it on the line. I'd never seen that level of commitment to each other and team and doing the right thing, and things not working out and people still pulling it together. It was emotive.
And also, it was of a time where it's easy to watch something now and go, it's not as good, and blah, blah. Yeah, okay, I get that. But you got to understand as well, watching it of its time, there wasn't a lot of other stuff going on then as well, like we have now. Do you know what I mean?
Also, it left an emotional impact.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That Dark Phoenix saga they did in that one.
The Dark Phoenix saga, So they have brought back X-Men, and they've called it X-Men '97, and it's a continuation. Charles Xavier is dead, and it's just a continuation, but they've done it in the exact same art style. It's the same kind of hokey scripting. Do you know what I mean? And the minute it starts playing the theme tune, I'm like, do you know what? I'm just going to press pause on this. I'm going to wait till Saturday morning, get a bowl of cereal, sit in front of the TV, because that's what it is. It was just, yeah. And I just thought it was really well done. And that's before we even talk about episode 5.
Before we even get to episode 5, can I just say I watched the first episode, right? And or at least the first sort of 2 episodes back to back type thing. And so my takeaways was like, one, when did Cyclops get? Cyclops was a badass in that show.
Yeah.
He was was like, do you say like the Cyclops from the film? Do you know what I mean? Cyclops weren't messing about, man.
Maybe you stepped it up after Xavier died.
Man. And he dropped a line in there. There's a lot, and I won't say what happens around it because it's a spoiler. But things happen, and then at the end of it, he's like, "To me, my Xmen," and I was like, "This is
to me, my Xmen." Yeah, I remember
this is a show, man. And then the other line he drops, where like everything's going to like hell, and he just presses communicator, and he's like, "Storm, give him the forecast," and then the next bit you hear is like, "Omega level threat detected," and I was like, and the Storm comes on, I was like, "This is how you do Storm. That's how you do Storm, man."
Yeah, I've always struggled with Storm. I remember struggling with her back in the day in this show.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, first, her voice was a little bit too dramatic for me. But you kept trying to convince me she was like practically an African goddess. And she's got the most sort of Western sounding voice. I was like, she ain't out of Africa. Do you know what I mean? She's out of America somewhere. And that hair, man, I'm just not, I'm not buying the mohawk.
How many episodes you've only seen? 5.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But 5 is the one that's the one that I mean, the first half of episode 5, I was like, okay, I know this is a little bit boring.
It wasn't boring. I think the thing was, and you were probably the same. I went into episode 5 off the back of everyone telling me you need to watch episode 5, and the whole internet losing its mind of episode 5. So I went in expecting things to be kicking off from the get go.
Which I think they blatantly did it on purpose, lull you into a false sense of security.
Boy,
because the second half,
mission achieved, man.
Second half, I just sat there with my mouth open, like my eyes. I'll be honest, my eyes were sweating a little bit.
He went into that second half, man, and I was just like, I don't think obviously I did breathe because I'm still here, but it felt like I hadn't, until the credits rolled, it felt like I hadn't been breathing.
There's a guy on Instagram and on Twitter called the DA Experience.
Yeah, I love that dude, man.
Did you see his did you see his little reel about episode 5? And that summed it up perfectly.
No, I need to send you.
Is the look on his face at the beginning of the episode and the look on his face at the end. And I was like, yeah, I get it, man.
No, I need to send you. I've got it. I've got the link. I need to send the link. It's basically 2 brothers doing a bit of a reaction to it. They've watched it for the first time. These 2 brothers, right? They're beefy dudes, right? And they're clearly X-Men fans. You need to watch that, man, because their reactions, I'm like, that's kind of how, if me and you watch it together, that would have been our reaction. Because literally, like, every 5 seconds, one of the bigger brothers like, what the fuck? Other dude's got his head in his hands, the shaking out. What's going on?
Yeah, that was let
me tell you, right? If there was ever a description of, if I ever had to explain, if I had a son or a daughter and they came up to me and sat at my knee and was like, "Daddy, you always use the term putting it on the line. What does that mean?" I'd be like, "Well, son or daughter, let me just put an X-Men episode 5, the second half. You sit there and you can see what that means, because that second half was the very definition of people putting it on the line."
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm still in recovery.
Yeah. Off the back of that, so basically go watch X-Men. Off the back of it, I'm doing this thing. I'm kind of rewatching some things and blah blah blah. So I've been rewatching Inception.
Yeah.
So I've got about 50 minutes to go. You know what, man? I love that film anyway. and this is probably my third rewatch of it since it came out. I don't think I've seen a better team show where man is that last half hour of Inception. I don't think I've ever seen people work so hard to achieve an objective.
Yeah, it's been. I only watched it the once, man. It's been a long
Mate,
time.
and I feel it's better watching it older. You need to watch it again. Trust me. You need to set aside some time and watch it because I know you love a team film like me. But people are that last half hour, right? People are working, people are adapting, things going wrong. People are like, boy, it's gone wrong. I know, man, but we got to go. We've only got, and because the way it's all set up, we got the different levels that they have to go down. The way it jumps between different levels, it just works on a level that I'd forgotten. In the way that the other film we did, Tenet, just doesn't.
Right. Okay. I haven't seen Tenet.
Yeah, there's a bit in Inception where old Leo explains what Inception is, and the thing with a lot of Nolan films is he has that bit, that explanation, and that's where he either with him or you're not. If you don't get the explanation, you're done.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the way they do it in Inception, they do it a couple of times. I'm in. I'm like, I get it. I get the basic premise of it, and then they then layer on top of it, and I'm like, okay, I understand where you're going now. I get it. A little bit tricky here and there, but I get it enough to like, I'm with it. This is, I'm in. There's a bit in Tenet or Teddy, or I don't know, Teddy, however they explain it. Teddy, I don't know. And Teddy. And he explains what it is, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah.
It looks, I mean, the film looks good. The whole backward stuff, that looks good, man. But I don't understand why is he going backwards? I don't get it. Because the bullets fire backwards. Okay, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. And there's almost a scene where almost like with a chalkboard, almost like explain to you where it is. And it's like it was like me being in science with you at school, and like Dr. Tribe would try to explain something, and I'd be like,
Dr. Tribe. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, sir, but I don't get it. Photosynthesis, yeah, that's lovely. Don't get it. I do understand photosynthesis, folks, but just for the purpose of this podcast, let's assume I don't. Yeah. But yeah, you need to rewatch it once. Trust me, you need to rewatch it.
Man, I've got so many things.
I know.
I mentioned a period of my life where I kind of want to rewatch so many things.
And I'm looking at my list, and I've still got about 6-7 things on there. So
I know.
We'll have to get to the next episode really quickly, and then we round up, man. I've started watching. I'm about to lose Paramount Plus, but I started to watch Discovery season 5.
Is that the one that's just coming out?
Yeah.
Or the one that was out last year?
No, this is the new one. This
is its last series.
Yeah. And I was going to leave it and get around to it. And basically, a few people on the forum, I think Matt Williams has said that I need to get on it because effectively it's a kind of Raiders of the Lost Art type deal where they're racing around the cosmos trying to find some lost artifact. So I'm like, okay, I'm in. The premise of it is great. It is lost artifact. We got to find it, and we got to go clues and all sorts and unimaginable power. I'm down for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's the same problem. I'm like, you can't tell me something is a race against time, right? And you're still taking time to stand around chatting about nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the problem with things like this, right, in a series, it's a little bit of it just, given the fact it's supposed to be a race against time, it just doesn't feel like there's any sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And even to the extent of, you could even see Burnham is getting frustrated because there's no sense of urgency, right? And I'm like, if you think you're struggling with it, think how I feel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of chatting once.
I saw somewhere, and I don't know, you can decide whether to keep this in or not. I saw someone going, I'm really, really loving Discovery, but it hasn't rated that well. I think we all know why, because people are racist, kind of thing. And I'm like, no, it's. I don't doubt there's people down there who are sexist and racist who are rated down. I don't doubt, but for the majority of people, It's because of that nonsense that you were just talking about.
It's just, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stop
yeah,
chat.
let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's
what I
go.
want is a scene for them, for people to be kind of like chatting and, I don't know if what's it going to be like? I'm going to be seeing them again. Are they still going to like me? I don't know. We've got this whole relationship. I don't know. And for someone just coming on, it's like, look, come on, we've got no time for this. Come on. Do you know what I mean? Just, and
Yeah.
for the love of God, man, if you're going to do that, speak up. The amount
Don't.
of times I have to turn the volume up because I can't hear what she's saying because everything's whispering.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Saru, I'm gonna miss you, Saru. You've been alone. Oh, I'm sorry. What? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? What did you say? Could you just speak up? Do you know what I mean? But I'm still enjoying it. I mean, that's the thing, is I'm enjoying it. Otherwise, I would stop watching it. I am
Yeah.
enjoying it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just those moments where I'm kind of like, I get it. You got stuff to say, but can't you do that off screen and just let me know that you've talked about it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Last one then. Fallout.
Oh, this is the Amazon showing it.
Yeah. So I know nothing. So Fallout is based on a computer game called Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
The blurb says Fallout is a story of haves and have-nots in a world in which there's almost nothing left to have. 200 years after the apocalypse, a peaceful denizen from a cozy fallout shelter is forced to return to the surface and is shocked to discover the wasteland waiting for her. So I know absolutely nothing about the game, and I sort of thought, yeah, I'll give it a watch. And I think it must have been Friday. I decided to watch the first episode. I done finished the series yesterday.
Really?
I burned through that. I couldn't get enough of it, man. It's wild. It's quirky. It's just out there. The world is not. So it starts in the 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a nuclear war. And you basically got this guy who dressed in a cowboy suit, just riding his horse with his little daughter, as nuclear bombs are going off all around them. Yeah, and you're like, geez. And then it fades to black, and it says 219 years later. And it follows a woman who is one of the descendants of people who were in the fallout shelters called vaults, and she's
Right.
in Vault 31. And things happen, and she has cause to leave, and she takes up with a knight from the Brotherhood of Steel, and they cross paths with a guy who people just call the Ghoul, who himself has been alive 200 years. He just looks like a zombie who's just
Right.
not a zombie. And they discover this wasteland, and the story is mad. The people they discover, it's mad. The story's mad, but the overall plot behind it is also mad. But it's intriguing. It's fascinating. The acting is fantastic. I just loved it, man. I've got nothing bad to say about it.
Okay. See, my problem, and you can probably answer it for me, because one reason I didn't play the game, because I know it's got like giant ants or cockroaches or something in there, and that's part of the reason why I haven't gone to like look at the show, because I'm like, I can't be dealing with that. So what's the score on that front?
There's some nasty giant fish creatures called gulpers.
No giant cockroaches.
There's some giant cockroaches. They don't really look like cockroaches though, because they've evolved. they got
Yeah.
they got better. They appear a couple of times, like kind of like giant vermin just trying to eat stuff, and then someone comes along and shoots them, and they go squish. So they only appear a couple of times. The first time is like girl sleeping out. Girls come out the shelter. She doesn't realize how dangerous the Badlands are, so she's just sleeping out, and then she hears this noise. It's like, oh, and then like bang, and someone shoots it and goes, "Those are cockroaches. You hardly even see it." And there's another time you see him come along and peck at someone, and then someone comes along and shoots them again. So they don't actually do too well, and they don't appear that much. That's about it in terms of creatures.
Okay. I may give it a look see. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the show. So,
And the guy who's the ghoul, Walton Scog, what's his name?
Scoggins or something like that.
Yeah,
Scoggins. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
Walton Goggins, which
yeah.
is a great Walton Goggins. What a name! He's just fantastic. He's just brilliant. And when he's on, it just makes you feel like a futuristic western.
Right.
As I always say, us cowpokes got to take it as it comes.
All right. I'll give it a
Yeah,
look. See.
I'm all over it. I'm all over, and I'm just gutted that I've now got to wait for season 2.
How many episodes was it?
8.
Okay. Nice.
So
Cool.
yeah.
All right, buddy. We'll round this up, man.
Woo! Well, that was a lot. We laughed a lot. put new things on the to watch list and the to read list, which is I can't doing that. Anyway, let us know what you thought of the things that we thought of. Or something. So, yeah, that was us. Let us know what you know by getting hold of us on social media. Just look for Geek Syndicate across all the platforms. Email us at thegeeks@geeksyndicate.co.uk. And if you feel like it, buy us a coffee on Patreon or buy us a coffee or Ko-fi.com, whatever it's called.
Great advertising, Dave. Great.
Yeah. Marketing 101.
Yeah. Make up that shit as you go.
So until next time, Geek Syndicate, we out.
We out.